Mikey Garcia believes that Manny Pacquiao can't give him the same problems as Errol Spence because Pacquiao is much smaller at welterweight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Shout out to everybody who just joined the Patreon. We back up and running. I paused it for a minute. I had to revamp it. It has now been revamped. We have 4 tiers: featherweight, we have lightweight, welterweight, and heavyweight tiers. You guys could head over to it. Link in the description. Sign up for the Patreon. That's where I'm going to do a lot of the live streams and, you know, different content going forward, because I got to show love to the people who are contributing either by channel members on YouTube or Patreon. Now, if you want to be a part of that, you can sign up. Also, sign up for ESPN Plus using my link. Get the bundle. That's what we're pushing right now. ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps, $12.99 a month to help you get through this quarantine. And it does help the channel when you guys click that. Now, Mikey Garcia did a recent interview, and you see the headliner. Pacquiao, he's a much smaller guy. Mikey believes Manny Pacquiao can't complicate things. So in this article, you know, some quotes from Mikey Garcia believing that Pacquiao can't give him the same type of fits. It says, last time Mikey Garcia fought a southpaw at welterweight, things got as bad for him as they possibly could. Despite the forgettable experience, Garcia is not in the mood of letting it get in the way of his welterweight dreams. The 4-weight world champ tasted the first defeat of his career against Errol Spence. The 5'10" Errol Spence wreaked havoc upon Mikey. A difference in size was the major reason for the one-way affair. Therefore, the California native is now looking for a smaller opponent. The man on top of Garcia's preferred opponent list is Pacquiao. In an Instagram live chat with Eddie Hearn, Mikey said the Filipino would be an easier opponent than Spence Jr. Quote, I would love that opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao. I think styles, you know, make fights, and he's not that tall. A lanky fighter that can complicate things like Errol Spence did. He said a much more physical Spence annihilated Mikey en route to a shutout victory. All 3 judges scored every round in favor of the truth. I was at that fight, and that was the proper score. Just like Spence, Pacquiao is a southpaw as well, but doesn't necessarily have the imposing physical presence as the unified welterweight champ. Quote, Manny's still a southpaw, but he's a lot smaller in size, so he's shorter in height, doesn't have the reach like some of these other welterweights. Mikey also revisited his sparring in the past with Manny Pacquiao, said the fight between Garcia and Pacquiao makes sense because of their similar physicalities. Neither of them is a true welterweight. Instead, both of them can be described as enormously overachieving big lightweights. Fighting Pacquiao will not only give Mikey a huge payday, but also the opportunity to be a 5-weight world champion. If the two ever square off in the ring, they can benefit from reminiscing about the time they sparred together. Quote, Mikey says, I mean, I remember sparring with him years and years ago. I was able to fight in the way similar to Morales or Marquez. Says even if both of them show interest in fighting each other, they couldn't be made before the world comes out of the corona, obviously. Pacquiao last fought against Thurman, and the link will be in the description. I disagree with Mikey Garcia. There's another interview where Mikey Garcia says, you know, he's basically admitting he doesn't belong at welterweight. He said, oh, my dad doesn't want me there. My trainer, my brother says, you know, I should probably pursue 140. And he's stubbornly wanting to fight at 147. And then he's saying like he could beat Pacquiao because Pacquiao doesn't have some of the same advantages physically as a guy like Errol Spence. But here's the thing. I do think Errol Spence fights completely different than Manny Pacquiao. However, they're both southpaws, and even though Pacquiao is small, he packs a punch, and you know, you could really argue that he's overall faster than Spence, you know, and that's no disrespect to Spence's speed, but Pacquiao's just like a ball of energy, frenetic, you know, it's just a different style, different awkward rhythm. And In the first round, he sat Keith Thurman down, who looked like he was having some issue almost even making 147, you know, with all his layoffs and, you know, coming off a Jose Cito Lopez fight where he got hurt and long layoffs before that, inactivity. And Pacquiao sat him down. So I don't know why Mike. I mean, I understand, you know, pursuing the 5 division, but the welterweight division is thick. It's just really thick. And I understand, you know, you want to fight the best and be the best and stuff like that, but it got to make sense. I do think Mikey is a quality fighter for sure. But the thing is, you got to be within reason. Welterweight is stacked. And I feel like all of the top welterweights will give Mikey Garcia a very hellacious fight. Sean Porter, he's a tough fight for true welterweights. So Mikey has a flat-footed style. He's not like super fast, like fastest guy. His arms aren't going to be the longest. And, you know, he's one fight removed from the Errol Spence fight. So I think Sean Porter would be a very difficult fight. He's a difficult fight. He stays in your chest. He's a difficult fight for anybody. You know, that's just the reality of what we've seen from Porter. Errol Spence already beat him, so I don't even think anyone wants to see a rematch with that. Top guys, Terrence Crawford. Crawford beat him in the amateurs. Now you can say, oh, that's the amateurs, is different now. But what's different? Crawford's better. You know what I'm saying? He's better than when he was an amateur. He's learned more. He's bigger. He has all the confidence. He has making millions. He wasn't a millionaire when he was an amateur. He's a millionaire now. You know what I'm saying? So he's making money, feeling himself, winning, looking impressive, beating guys at their own game plan, like Mean Machine, a big puncher at welterweight. You know, so that's clearly a difficult fight, especially knowing that the guy beat you in the amateurs. Keith Thurman, I think, would be a difficult fight for Mikey, because Keith Thurman can move, you know, and he can punch. He has heavy hands. People sleep on him because he hasn't got a knockout in a while. But look at this, is Mikey bleeding. Who else is there? You know, that's just, Danny Garcia. I think Danny might be too big. You know, so it's like, who are you going to fight for a title? You have to get a title from Errol, who has 2 belts. You have to get a title from Pacquiao, you know, and just because, again, Pacquiao is shorter in stature, but Pacquiao is beat up on Antonio Margarito, who was trained by Mikey's brother, who's bigger than Mikey. Antonio Margarito is like 5'11" or something, you know, and he was fighting at 150 plus pounds. Mikey just doesn't have that type of frame, you know. He doesn't have that type of frame where he's like anywhere close to Margarito. You know, I'm sure I could probably, if I Google Mikey Garcia, Antonio Margarito, I'm gonna see if I could even find pictures of them next to each other. But this was a bad night, man. Errol Spence got busy. And again, Pacquiao, even at whatever he is, 41, 42, Pacquiao's still a problem. He's still a problem. And all these other welterweights that are top level, top 5, they're big. And see, this is the thing. And I'm not making excuses for Errol Spence, but I think Errol Spence, he fought to prove a point. He could have fought more reckless. Like, I mean, he showed you in his very next fight with Sean Porter that he could fight, doghouse rules in the trenches. He wanted to punish Mikey. And if he can get the stoppage in that style, then he was going to take it. But he was just going to fight smart the whole time. That's why he was pumping out the jab. But best believe Errol Spence, again, his very next fight, he showed you how much of a dog he is with Sean Porter. Because Sean Porter kind of pushed the issue. And there had been a lot of talk beforehand about, you know, Sean Porter can't fight. Like, you know, he fight like he's drowning and stuff like that. So Errol Spence had to stand on everything he had said. So it just made for a classic fight. So he could have fought the same way with Mikey Garcia. But I think Sean Porter and Mikey Garcia performance, if you noticed it, Errol Spence, you know, and he shouldn't do this every time, because, you know, you might meet someone that has your number, but it's worked for him in his last 2 fights, in those 2 big fights last year. And I was at both of them. I covered both of them on the channel for you. But Errol Spence, I think, was trying to make statements to show people he could do it all and he could beat you at your own game. People said he wasn't a good boxer, and Mikey's a way, way better boxer. And then he showed he was the better boxer. His jab was getting off. His timing was good. His boxing fundamentals were there. He was landing the power shot, you know. So he showed he's the better boxer, right? And then with Sean Porter, he had said, oh, you know, I think he slept on Sean Porter a little bit and thought Sean Porter was just basic and he was going to, you know, run Sean into something. And he did drop him, but it was a tough fight. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I've said the same thing. Like Mikey, respect Mikey, but welterweight is just looking so stacked. I just don't see who he's going to beat. Like, at one point, you know, I was willing to entertain the Pacquiao fight, but he didn't do like Juan Manuel Marquez. And you got to keep in mind, Juan Manuel Marquez had 3 previous attempts to learn Pacquiao, to learn his feints, to learn his quirks, to learn his rhythms and the stutter steps. And yes, it's up to my promoter, Bob Adam. You know, he learned all that stuff. Mikey would just be fighting him, having had fought Pacquiao in several years when he was at the 120s or something, you know, when they sparred a long time ago. And then he would be going in there with pro Pacquiao under the bright lights. It just looks like a cash grab to me. You know, I'd have to see Mikey. What I would like to see is Mikey fight somebody who's not a champion to show us that you're that person at welterweight. Because real talk, in the Jesse Vargas fight, I thought Jesse Vargas had him in some trouble. You know what I'm saying? Jesse Vargas came out very sharp, very sharp. And Jesse Vargas lost to Pacquiao as well. He underestimated that speed. So Pacquiao's just different. He's just a different animal. He's an anomaly. So it looks more like a cash grab because I don't even know if the fan interest will be. I mean, yes, Mikey has a brand and a name and stuff like that. You put it in Texas or somewhere like that, Vegas, it'll sell for sure. But I don't know how many people outside of like racial and nationalistic pride and heritage and stuff really would favor in their heart of all hearts Mikey to beat Pacquiao based on recent performances at 147. You know, no catch weight and stuff. I just don't see it because he said he wants the title at 47. So I don't know. I don't know why he's pushing for this welterweight action so much, but it just didn't look good. You know, this Spence business didn't look good. Look at his face was all swollen up. And yeah, I don't think Pacquiao's, he would look way smaller than Floyd, but he still clipped Floyd and even hurt Floyd. Floyd got a way better defense than Mikey Garcia. I don't think there's anyone with a brain in their head that believes Mikey Garcia has better defense, better defense than Floyd. And we seen in the Pacquiao fight, even though Mayweather pretty well dominated Pacquiao in that one round, 3 or 4 or whatever, Pacquiao still was able to get off that straight left, that warm butter, and hurt Mayweather. You know, I think he hurt him in round 7 slightly too. You know, 7 or 8 or something like that. So I don't know. I just don't see it being that optimistic for Mikey to. Again, I understand he wants a title in another division, but I just don't see it necessarily coming out of this current crop of welterweight fighters. That's my honest opinion. And, you know, as far as his commentary saying Pacquiao's smaller, yeah, he's smaller, but he clearly has the power to hurt those guys. Name someone that Pacquiao didn't. He hurt Mayweather. He hurt Jesse Vargas, you know, and dropped him. He hurt Keith Thurman and dropped him. Hurt Keith Thurman late in the fight to the body. Who has Pacquiao really even fought that he didn't hurt, you know? And I'm not even talking about his older fights with David Diaz and Eric Morales, Ricky Hatton, you know, Marco Antonio Barrera and all them. I'm just talking about more recently. He's hurt all these. Brandon Rios got dropped. Who didn't? That's another person out the Robert Garcia gym. Who didn't he hurt? Chris Algieri got dropped like 6 times. He even hurt Mayweather, like I said. You know, Jeff Horn got hurt. Jeff Horn was almost out of there around 9, I think it was. You know, this is all off the top of the dome. Jeff Horn was badly hurt. It looked like he was seconds away from getting stopped. I thought Pacquiao won that fight anyway, even how it ended with it going to the decision. So I think just Pacquiao ultimately is a different animal, and it just seemed like Mikey wants a big fight and an opportunity, and you know, in that cash flow, because I see all the current champions being too big or too much for Mikey right now. Unless Mikey beats a Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, former champion or something like that, or Keith Thurman. I would like to see him beat that before Crawford, Pacquiao, or Spence rematch, period. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree, drop me a detailed comment in the comment section. Is Pacquiao, ripe? You could say, like I said, the Marquez situation, but Marquez had ample time to learn Pacquiao. We're just supposed to, one fight removed from the Errol Spence fight, think that Mikey Garcia, his first time fighting Pacquiao with no headgear and stuff, he's going to get it done. I got to see more from him at welterweight. Fight a name, a certified, like even a damn near a Berto or somebody, just so I can see, because Berto stopped Josecito Lopez, who almost stopped Keith Thurman. So I got to see Mikey beat a Keith Thurman, a Sean Porter, or a Danny Garcia or somebody before we even talk about him versus any of the champions. And I think that's how it should be. You shouldn't just have your brand and your name and star power always be able to carry you. You get knocked off the ladder and you came back and fought Jesse Vargas, who had to come down in weight, really was fighting at 150 plus. So we don't know how much that tapped him, and to come back down to the 47 again. Guys can make weight on the scale, but still be depleted when they've been fighting at higher weights. So I feel like Mikey should do something major at 47, a level below the champions or a former champion before you get the champion. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in that comment section. We working.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.